I made over 4% on my first ever backtesting session. Guys, I know I could have used another software to backtest, but since I am poor, I had to use this Notion template in which I include a lot of details such as the pairs, the strategies, the date, and all of that we will see in a moment. The good thing about it is that it is free, so you might as well use it if you are starting out and you do not know if you have an edge in the market. As you guys can see, these are some of the most important rules I use, and these come from my detailed trading plan. You have to follow them as if your life depended on them. Now let us take a look at this Notion template, and we will open this page for BTC USD, and let's put it as a big one. So as you guys can see here, there is a lot of information such as the title, the plan version, the text, and other aspects. Also, we've got a table here in which we will record our data. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of data. I took a lot of trades. In this case, it is about 30. Now, we will take a look at the results right now. As you guys can see, I took 31 trades. I made around 4%, in which 8 of them were wins, 22 were losses. So the total percentage was 26%. And even though I had a win rate of just 26%, I managed to stay positive at 3.918%. So, as you guys can see, there are some insights from the trading in which I see that when there's degenerate momentum, the pullbacks do not go as deep. But this has to do with the fact that I just used a daily time frame, so if you used multi-time frame analysis, you would have perhaps had opportunities to enter on the pullbacks that were not as deep. I also pointed out that perhaps in crypto or BTC, the gaps are not often filled. We also put here that it might be due to the fact that crypto moves a lot of momentum, so that might be the reason that these do not often get filled. And so you guys can see more insights, and you guys can take some of them. And let's say, for example, this is profitable, right? You can put this is profitable and have notes so that once you start testing in the real market with real money, you will be able to do so. We also have a quantitative analysis. In this case, I took 30 trades. I took at least or an average of 1 trade per day. How many losses I had in a row? I didn't count it, but I think it was like 9, man. It was a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, it was 9. I do not know why I didn't put it here. And also the largest amount of trades per day, how many trades you took per day, and how many ticks you took per day as a minimum as well. And as you guys can see, I put here that it is a 26.6 win rate, which would seem too low, and it is too low, but it still got me profitable, right? As for the qualitative analysis, we have that the best time for trading is when there's a big reversal. As you guys will be able to tell here, I got around 3.55 out of 1. Also, I got, for example, a 2.49% win, but that was because I was using some trade rules. Else it would have been around 5% of wins. So as you guys can see, we have also which days were the best. I was registering here which days of the week it was taken. For example, it says here that it was taken on Thursdays, on Mondays, etc., right? And you guys can point that out. Obviously, you could point out or have some records on the time of the day. For example, if you want to check if there's a London session, is a session or whatever, right? You guys can see what the best is doing. And for the patterns that made an impression is that reversal seems to provide the best wins, in this case for BTC, right? And here there are links to an average calculator and a win rate calculator as well. So those seems like pretty good results for being a first backtesting session. Now, you might wonder how I did it. These are the steps I took to backtest. First of all, you gotta read and revise your trading plan. If you haven't memorized it yet, you have to read it at least every day. And if you have memorized it, I would recommend you to read it at least every couple of weeks or every week, so that you can recall all the details. You also have to analyze past structures on TradingView, as I will see here. As you guys can see, there are a lot of marks here. For example, potential trades, liquidity sweep, targets, marking really big structures like supply demand and all of that, right? You also might want to set alerts for points of interest. This might not work or be useful in backtesting, but it will be a lot of use once you are trading. You also have to use a plan checklist. If you have it, that's great. If it's a document, that's the best for starters at least. But if you can do it mentally, it is good as well. You will have to check if the market is aligning with your entry criteria. If it doesn't align, you do not consider that one, right? You have to assess your emotional readiness. If you just fought with your girlfriend, or if you just had a bad day, do not trade. Just leave it out. However, if you are in a good mood or if you do not have a bad state of your mind, you have to place the order if the conditions are met. You just execute it, alright? Do not hesitate about it. However, if you didn't place the order, I don't know, because you were mad or perhaps there was no entry, you will still have to assess trade opportunities. Analyze if the graphs provide you with an opportunity in the future, and mark some alerts for the specific prices you want the price to target. Then you also have to journal your trades, just like I did here, and you want to introduce data that is relevant, like all of this that is here, and also you will have to take into account how you felt during that moment before the trade, after the trade, and what you could have done better or what you did great so that you can repeat it. And then you can use post-trade analysis. For example, weekly you can revise. For example, for the past week, you traded BTC. Now you want to take a look at each of these trades and see where you did wrong, what you did great. Now, we can enter into any of these trades and see how much I recorded for historical purposes. For example, let's take a look at trade number 22, which was from February 2022 to February 2022 as well, but from the 4th to the 7th. It was taken a Friday with a continuation pattern. It used a limit order with a stop loss of $2,400 US, and we lost here around 0.66%. And here as well we can take a look at that. The error type was not because of the system, but it was because I executed it wrongly. And here you guys can see that it was because there was a near inducement, and at the time I didn't have that into my plan, but now I have those. I realized many things when I was trading this for the very first time, that there were a lot of things that I didn't include in my plans. So I had to keep updating the plan and adding things that were crucial, right? As you guys can tell, I introduced a screenshot and some words for my future self. Once I revise it again, for example, it says that there was an inducement nearby. So as you guys can see, this was the inducement and this was the place I entered, so that was a mistake. And just like that, you can enter many more things. For example, cons of your entry, right? So there was an inducement, what you saw right, for example, right execution. TradingView is a phenomenal tool for analyzing price patterns and for technical analysis. It is just that for broken people like me, it just lets us use the replay option for the daily time frame. Take that into account if you intend to use multi-time frame analysis.